All right, everyone, welcome. We have Mr. Sal Sancada in the CreativeLive house.
Happy to be here.
We are so happy to have you back. It has been a while and just so good to see you.
Yeah, too long.
Too long. So before we talk a little bit about your photo week class that we're going to watch here in a minute, we wanted to go back and go a little bit down memory lane because you have been here for a number of classes here on CreativeLive.
Yes.
And let's start off with your very first one. I'd love to hear about the high school photography workshop, your first class here on CreativeLive. Tell us what it was about.
Yeah, so that particular one was our first experience with you guys. And I'll never forget, I met you and Craig in Vegas.
That's right.
At WPPI. That was awesome, overwhelming. We didn't know what to expect when we came here, and but we laid it all out on the line, and we taught about high school seniors, the business of high school seniors. Right. And it resonated well with the audience because everywhere around the world even, high school seniors want to be cool. Right? I don't know any 17-year-old that doesn't want to be cool. And so the high school senior program lays it all out, from establishing an ambassador program to finding your market demographics, creating mailing lists, and really going after the high school senior market.
And then just showing us how you shoot to sell as well.
That's
was
right.
Another big one.
Yeah, we took the back alley of the studio. I had no choice. They wouldn't let me play in the middle of the street like I normally do.
Oh boy.
Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, that was chaos.
Celeste Olds remembers that one too.
And it's funny because after that, Celeste never worked with me again. So I wonder if she's sending me a message. But no, we had a good time. We went in the alley and we just really showed how you can take seemingly just a simple brick wall and turn it into something more than just a brick wall. And then we went up to the rooftop.
Yep.
We did some off-camera flash, so we taught off-camera flash as well, and overpowering the sun and bringing in that dark blue sky, and doing something a little more dramatic.
So that was the full package of a course for high school seniors, which wasn't even your bread and butter at the time, which is wedding photography.
Right.
So then we said, we need to get this guy back, Sal, and you did a 5-day wedding photography boot camp. That was intense. That was the full package. Tell us about that.
I can honestly say that from a speaker perspective, the 5-day boot camp was probably one of the most exhausting weeks of my life and my team's life, because it is truly a blueprint from shooting the wedding day, whether it's the creatives, the bridal prep, the groom prep. We went through every part of the day, to marketing your business, how to run a bridal show. We showed you the bridal show setup.
That's right.
And so it's from getting the bride all the way to final delivery and everything in between. And I think still to this day, it's probably one of the most comprehensive wedding courses that's ever been presented on CreativeLive. And so there's a lot of great wedding photographers out there that'll teach you how to pose and light and all that stuff. And we touch on some of that stuff. But as far as like a true business plan on how to be a wedding photographer, I still believe that's one of the best courses we've ever produced, and I think that has come out of CreativeLive.
Oh, I agree. It was one for the books,
Yes.
for sure.
I still get people talking to me like, I've watched your 5-day boot camp, and I did this, and this, and it's working. And I always love hearing the success stories, because that's ultimately why we teach. Everybody out there who's following us in the past, or maybe new people don't know this, but we're an active studio. So we photograph 35 to 50 weddings a year. We do 75 to 100 high school seniors a year. And somewhere in there I teach, and we have a magazine, and we do all sorts of other fun stuff.
So many things. I don't know how you and your beautiful wife, Taylor, even breathe or sleep, who happens to be here off the room. Hi, Taylor.
Yes.
Let's talk about then your next class. You came back, and you came back for more. And so that was the marketing for photography business.
Right. What we wanted to do in those courses was really, because the one thing photographers seem to struggle with is just marketing and self-promotion and social media. And they don't really quite understand how to do that. And that's a struggle, because if you're going to be a photographer and you're just hoping business comes to you, it's not going to work that way. Right? You've got to go out there, you've got to hustle, you've got to get it. And that's any business, by the way. And the analogy I always make, you could be selling cupcakes. You still have to know how to market your business and build a brand. And so the marketing, and then of course the subsequent course was mastering, is part 2 of that. So we really dove deep in both those courses in giving you marketing ideas. And what I love about both those courses is they're not pie in the sky items that are going to cost you $20,000 to go implement.
Right.
Some of these are grassroots, just sweat equity marketing programs that you can put in place tomorrow. Right. That will cost you nothing, just your time and effort.
And I think that's the beauty of the way that you teach, Sal, is just you put it out there and you show people what they can do, and then they get to go choose if they're going to go do it or not. But it's no holds barred. It is, you're a businessman.
Yes.
And so that is truly over and over. People will be successful or they're not, and you lay it all out there. So
I think when I look at what my strength is as an educator, it's my job is to just show you the way, right? I'm the flashlight. I'm gonna show you the path. Whether you decide to walk down that path or not, it's totally up to you, like you said. And that's why I think the people who follow us and embrace our practices really do well, because they're taking what we're teaching them to heart. They know that we're a real studio, and then they're applying those principles in their own way. You don't have to do exactly what I'm saying. Just take bits and pieces of it, and you'll.
What works for you.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the little piece that we're about to watch here in our special edition of Photo Week.
Yes.
And you taught on.
Reporting.
Thank you. Business reporting
Yeah.
for photographers. You've taught so many things.
I teach
here.
on too many things.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Tell me about that class.
The reporting was an element I felt was missing from all the courses that I've taught, right? Because it's more business heavy. It's not sexy, glamorous, models, lights, all this stuff that photographers want to do. It's like numbers, right? And none of us ever want to look at just numbers.
Right.
They're boring. But numbers are going to help us look at the past and predict the future. And so this is an hour and a half course where we really try and dive in on some simple things. I'm not looking for you to be an accountant, right? So it's meant for photographers.
Great.
Simplified, dummy-proofed, so that you can look at your business, understand the numbers you're seeing, and understand what they mean, and more importantly, how to take corrective action on those numbers. I thought it was a really straightforward course. I think people are going to love it.
Jam-packed as
Yes.
well. And Sal, in 90 minutes.
Yes.
Let's talk just a little bit again about some of the things that you teach. People, you must have, who knows how many people ask you questions. And you must hear
All the
some of the
time.
same questions over and over and over. What are some of those, with regard to business for starters, what's the biggest question that you get? And what's the answer? And why do you think people keep asking it?
Yeah, the number one question I get asked from photographers around the world, doesn't matter what market we're in, is about pricing and packaging their work, right? How do I price my work? And it's a question that seemingly has no answer, because how you price your work is up to you, right? Ultimately. And that's why in the both senior and wedding courses, we really dive into the framework to price your work, right? So I'm not going to tell you that, okay, if you're in business 1 to 2 years, you should charge $1,000 or $5,000. I say charge as much as you can, right? I want to make as much money as I can. I'm a business person. Instead, what we like to do is just give you the framework on how to figure out what your pricing should be. And that's where we've seen people have the most success.
Right, because you can't just say across the board, everybody needs to price this at this and this at that. That's never going to work.
No,
it's never gonna work.
there's
so
no
many
business in the
factors.
world.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to McDonald's, get a cup of coffee for 99 cents. You can go to Starbucks and somehow pay $7, right?
So walk out.
Yeah, what just happened? But somehow, it works for those businesses.
Right,
but
does.
you've got to understand the underlying framework that drives pricing. And consumer behavior is something that as photographers we have to understand, and they don't normally want to think about that stuff. So that's why I try and make it easy for them.
Which is great. We absolutely don't. And it's just hard to know where to start. So huge question that we hear over and over again. What about on the photographing side? What do most people want to know?
Lighting.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you're starting out as a photographer, and this is an area I think I'm really good at, not necessarily in understanding lighting ratios and fall offs, and not that we shouldn't understand that if we're going to perfect our craft, we need to understand that. But what happened for me was I watched Taylor, as she was coming up as a photographer. She had a book on lighting, off-camera flash and lighting ratios, and I just saw this look on her face of like just panic in trying to understand all this.
It's the look I have on my face.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, look, here's what you do. Boom, boom, boom. And I handed her a camera and I did it. And she's like, well, that was easy. And that was when, for me, the light bulb went off that this is a topic photographers struggle with. Just simplify it, you know? And I think photography used to be dominated mostly by males. A lot of math in figuring out ratios and math and fall off. And this is not the world we live in anymore, right? And so, like I said, to master your craft, I'm not diminishing that skill, but when I'm photographing a wedding, that's not what I want to be thinking about. And so we try to make it easy for them.
Great, fantastic. Well, maybe one more question. So you were a businessman when you got into your photography business. What is the one thing that you wish you knew about, say, the wedding photography industry coming in as a businessman that you know now?
Wow. The one thing I wish I knew maybe it's not even something I knew. I just wish it was a mindset. I wish I didn't give a crap about what everybody else thought. And with maturity of my business and myself, I've learned to care less and less what people think. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way at all. I think if you're going to be a successful business person, successful entrepreneur, if you're trying to follow what other people think you should be doing, you can't possibly be successful because you're just copying everybody.
Right.
And so my measuring stick today is, if I'm not pissing someone off, I'm probably not doing it right. And so that's kind of my goal today. Sorry, but that is my mentality.
That fits you perfectly, Sal.
Yes. You either love me or you hate me. I am a polarizing person, to say the least. But look, we love what we do. We love our industry. We love teaching people. But when I first started out, I just wish I had enough confidence, right, in my work, in my vision for my company, that I just stayed true to that. And it probably sidetracked me for a good 2 years until I found my rhythm and just said, I don't care. I'm going to do what I think is right.
Do you think that people, though, have to go through that in order to then get to the I don't care?
Yes.
I think it's something we all struggle with, right?
But here's what happens. Some people don't make it over that hump.
True.
And then they give up on what they love, which is photography, right? And that's the thing I want everybody to hear out there, is just understand that all of us go through that. All of us have confidence issues. All of us are trying to figure out, what are my competitors doing? Where are they shooting? How much are they charging? And then you'll get to that point in your career where you either go and fail because you just give up, you throw your hands in the air, or you just go, screw it, I'm going to do what my gut instinct tells me is right.
I love it.
Make it over that hump.
All right, so outside of what we're going to watch here at Creative Live, tell us what else you have going on in the never-ending world of Sal Cincotta, Shutter Mag, Shutter Fest.
Yes, it's insanity. 2013, I was on business probation. I was not allowed to start any new businesses. But Taylor knew that. She's now figured out that by keeping me stifled for 1 year, that was not good. So
now you're going out with a bang.
Yeah, 2014, I got all sorts of things going on. So we got Shutter Fest, which is an industry first free conference for 500 photographers. We're already planning it for 2015, and we're going to open it up to even more photographers from around the world. We got people coming.
So cool.
Shutter Magazine is another free magazine. 82,000 subscribers to the magazine. Just incredible.
You launched it here when you were here on Creative Live.
We did.
I remember that day.
Yeah. It was exciting. It was exciting for all of us.
It's so cool to see what an impact it's made.
We love Creative Live. We love what Creative Live inspires us, right? So we look at what you guys have done for education, and then we try to put our own spin on it.
Yeah.
And what can we do? And recently we've launched Shutter Network, and what Shutter Network is it's me for maybe 20 minutes. I bring on an expert, my accountant, my attorney, just to talk about relevant topics right there in that moment. It's not meant to replace Creative Live. We're coming back on at the end of this year. It's just meant to get a little bit more of a dose of Sal, I guess, in between my Creative Live appearances. But Shutter Network, was watched in over 102 countries in its first week. And so those are things you guys are doing. But for me, I was like, I didn't even know there was 102 countries in the world. So it was an educational moment for me as well.
Well, it's pretty exciting. It's always inspiring to see you continue to create, you and Taylor both. It's just never ending, and it's really great. So
thank you.
Happy to have you back here today. Excited to watch your segment again and to continue to see what Sal and Taylor Cincotta do.
Yes.
So thanks again.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see ya.